Hey, thanks for joining me. So recently purchased a new lens. It's the TT Artisan 10mm f2 Aspheric lens. I've been looking at this lens for quite a while, and it's been out for, more than a year, probably a couple of years. And it's been reviewed a lot on YouTube, predominantly by people shooting APS-C cameras. This lens is designed to cover APS-C sensors, but they also make it in micro 4/3 mount. And I've been thinking about getting a little bit wider lens than the 14mm that my kit lens covers. And instead of a 12mm lens, I was looking at this. The reviews are pretty good on it, but I think that what I've found is that this is going to be a much better 20mm equivalent lens on micro 4/3 than it is a 15mm equivalent lens on APS-C. So the reviews that I've seen on this lens predominantly suggest that it's good and sharp in the center, even at f2, but at the edges and the corners, not as great as some people would have liked. Acceptably sharp, but I think some people would have liked it to perform a little bit better at the corners and edges. It's known for having very little barrel distortion and very little chromatic aberration. And so it got really good reviews in general, but there was always that wish it worked better at the corners and edges kind of thing. But when I got to thinking about it, on micro 4/3, of course, we're going to crop in a little bit, and we're going to lose some of that stuff that they complained about. And in fact, when I looked at the MTF chart on TT Artisan's website, and I'll put a link in the description so you can go to that chart. The page for this lens has some tabs you can select, kind of not the top of the page, but kind of below the main part of it. And one of them is specifications, and you can see the MTF chart. And an APS-C sensor from the center to the corner is about 15mm, a little over 15mm. And on micro 4/3, it's only 11.25mm. So when you look at these MTF charts, they show you the image quality on the graph from the center out to, the 15 degrees or 15mm, which would be the corner of the image. And if you bring that in, though, and stop at 11.25, you see that the drop in image quality on that MTF chart largely happens after that 11.25 mark. So I thought this would be a good choice, and I purchased the lens and been shooting some tests with it, and I'm really, really impressed. Like I said, I think this is going to be a better micro 4/3 lens than it is an APS-C lens. Now, the field of view on APS-C is 105 degrees. It's nice and wide. On micro 4/3, it's a little less so. So I had Grok AI do the calculations for me, and it was able to show me that this is supposed to have, on micro 4/3, approximately a 94-degree field of view. A 20mm equivalent lens is a wide lens. It's just not quite as wide as, what you'd have if you were shooting a 15mm equivalent. Now I've got the SLR Magic 8mm, which is a 16mm equivalent. And it's weird, they advertise 108-degree field of view, so I'm not sure why the 15mm equivalent on APS-C is slightly less. I'm not sure how that works out exactly, but this lens will be, approximately 94 degrees field of view, which is very wide, and I think it's going to be a really good general use wide angle lens. Image quality, I shot some pictures with it. You'll be able to see these. The image quality is, I think, really excellent, and I think it's going to be a great lens to use. Now, this lens is pretty solidly made. I'm not going to do like a point-for-point review on this. I mean, there's a zillion reviews on this online, so you can go look a lot about it. I'm not going to try to go look up the weight and all that kind of stuff. But, the focus on it is really nice and smooth. The aperture ring back here has clicks, but they're subtle. I mean, if you were shooting video, I think you could roll past them pretty easily. And it does have half-stop clicks, which is nice. You can actually see they're even marked. And it, very nicely made lens, beautiful quality. Kind of neat, too. It's got this filter holder. So without this, which this is not actually a lens hood, this is a filter adapter. The lens, and it comes with a rubber cap. They say it's rubber, but it's really kind of a soft plastic. But it comes with a soft cap that you can push over this that covers what it has for a lens hood. But to me, that sticking out there looks a little scary. So this filter adapter allows you to use 72mm filters, and it just screws on the front of it. It's a very close precision fit. And I think I'm just going to leave that on. It also acts like a little bit of a lens hood, but more than anything, it'll protect that front element from getting hit. Beautifully made lens. It has two aspheric elements. It has two low dispersion glass elements. It's a pretty sophisticated design, and I think it's a fantastic lens for micro four thirds. So I've got some pictures I'm going to let you look at here. So you've seen pictures that I've shot in the past of the Overholser Lake Dam. It's an old dam made in the early 1900s. And so I shot pictures of it. Actually, I shot them at a lot of different apertures, but what I'm going to show you is the picture of the dam at f2, and then a 100% blow up of near the center of the image. It's not exactly the center because the exact center is kind of like shadow area, but near the center of the image, you can see the image quality. And then at the far left, it's the shoreline at the far left where you can see some detail. And I do that at f2, so there's 3 images at f2, then there'll be 3 images at f5.6. Now, probably at by f8, you're hitting diffraction limiting, so I didn't really see much point in going past that. But so I did this at f2 and at f5.6, and then there's a bridge that I shot some pictures of that is at f2 and f5.6, but I only did 2 images, the whole bridge and then the center at f2 and then at f5.6. You'll see those. And then there's a picture of a wrought iron fence that I did. I want you to see how little barrel distortion this lens has. It's pretty amazing. They said that this has nearly 0 barrel distortion, and when you crop it in a little bit from the edges, I'm thinking it has 0 barrel distortion. I mean, it is really good. And chromatic aberration is really well controlled in it. The lens just really performs great on micro four thirds. I'm really enjoying it. So anyway, I want to show you some of these images. After those, there's a couple of pictures where I shot directly into the sun. That was hazy, so the sun wasn't just bright sun, clear sky. There was some hazy clouds, but it was still bright enough that there's distinct shadows on the ground. So the first image is stopped down. It's pretty dark, so you can actually see where the sun is. Because on the next image where I opened up enough that you could, the foreground was properly illuminated, the sun just kind of blows out in the sky because it's hazy and it's a little bit cloudy, and it's kind of hard to tell exactly where the sun is, though there's a bright area in the sky. But what you can see is kind of extending down to the left from that image, you can see some flare. But I mean, literally, I have the sun in the image, and I think it did really well. And I believe I was at f5.6 on that image. And after that, I think the images are just pretty much random. There's some more of the dam, and there's just a selection of odd images I took just so you can see them. But I think what I'm going to find is this lens is very useful, and compared to the 8mm SLR Magic lens, I think it performs a bit better. And so I think this is going to become something I use, pretty frequently. It's wide enough that it gives me that wide angle look that I need. It focuses really close too. This thing focuses down to less than a foot. It shows 0.25 of a meter. But at one point I was actually shooting a tree trunk with it, and I literally had my hand against the tree trunk and my thumb out like this, and that's how close it focused to the tree trunk, just that far. So I saw one review where they said it doesn't focus very close, and I'm like, I don't know how much closer you need to get, but I think it focuses plenty close. On the focusing scale, the top is feet and the bottom is meters, and so it's 0.25 of a meter. 1 foot is right there, and so that is, you can see where the different 2 feet's way over here. So by this point, that's, I don't know what it is exactly it's supposed to be on this scale, but it's 7 inches, maybe 8 inches. It's pretty close, and I think for my uses, it's as close as I would need one of these to get. This is supposed to be good for astrophotography because it's got a nice large front element, so it's good at light gathering. And the TT Artisan website has some astrophotography samples that are pretty cool looking, so I'm gonna have to give that a try. nice big wide field of view for, capturing big starry sky stuff. And so I think in general for Micro Four Thirds, this is going to be a really excellent lens to use. Well, let's look at some of these pictures, and we'll go through those, and then I'll catch up with you afterwards and see what you think. Well, hope you enjoyed seeing those images. I think I'm going to find this lens to be one that I really enjoy using. It is got good image quality, build construction's excellent. The design is I think an excellent lens. I don't think you can come close to it for anywhere close to twice the price. I know other people make lenses in this size or range, but I think you pay a lot more for it. For this price, this really lens. And like I said, I think this is a better 20mm equivalent lens on Micro Four Thirds than it is a 15mm equivalent lens on APS-C. I think it works better. You lose some of the problem areas around the edges. Performance is good, I think, throughout. And I think it's just, for Micro Four Thirds, it's going to be a great user lens. I don't know. I haven't found anything about it yet that I'm not happy about. So anyway, I hope some of that was useful. If you have any thoughts or questions, please don't hesitate to leave me a comment. I always love hearing from you. And as always, thanks for watching.